Hello, my name is Shula or Shulamith. My professional name is Shulamith Reinharz. And can you get me what I wanted to bring up here? Thank you. So, I want to just tell you two reasons that I wanted to publish with Lisbeth and Amsterdam Publishers. The first one was, she asked me, when is your birthday? Did anyone else get that question from her? I did, and I said June 17th. She said, we'll have the book come out on June 17th. And I thought, this is a woman with a heart. That's not something that is done. And then she told me about this group that gets together. I couldn't believe that either, that she would take the authors, her multiple authors, and have them meet each other and help each other. I'm a sociologist. I just thought these were two great phenomena. I'm going to tell you briefly some points that I think are important. They're not in order. The person sitting next to me, could you raise your hand, is Agnes Schipper, whom I do not know. And her book and my book is on the right, on your left, and her book is Sabina's Odyssey, A Hidden Child and Her Dutch Rescuers. Why did I gravitate to see this book? Because it's Dutch. What is hiding in Holland? It's Dutch. And I want to ask you, Lisbeth, if you could somehow, or maybe an assistant of yours, group some of these books by country, so that I want to read every single Dutch book. I want to know everything that I want to benefit from it. One of the reasons I want to really benefit from it, if you've read it, if you've written a book that deals with Holland, come see me. I will give you my card. I will buy your book. And one of the reasons is I just got a contract to have my book translated into Hebrew, which I'm thrilled with. But what I can do in this opportunity, because it's going to come out in a year, is to enhance the book in some ways, and I will cite you. And if people read my book, which is going to be published by Magnus Press, which is the Hebrew University's press, which is very prestigious, and you see your book is cited, that might be helpful. Because I love this idea of our writers, and this was, you said this, that we should support each other. Well, what does it mean? I'm an academic, so I support people by citing their work and discussing their work in what I do. So please, if you have a Dutch theme in your... The other reason I'm so interested in Holland is because Holland suffers from a very good reputation, and it does not deserve it. So I think there's a different story to tell there. Couple of things I've learned. PowerPoint is very important. I know PowerPoint is like from the Middle Ages, but whenever you give a talk, whenever possible, there should be there was a screen here that was blank the whole time. And I said, how wonderful would it have been for each person to have their name and their book and maybe something about it. I think PowerPoints are really important in presentations because people don't only want to see, hear, what you have to say, they want to see what you're talking about. And it leads to interesting questions. And you can put anything up there. You can put an interesting document. Sometimes people read my book and they said, that was so interesting. Excuse me. And it was not something that I felt was particularly interesting, but you have to know what audiences really like. And PowerPoints have really worked for me very well. I think another thing to do is to find magazines. Now, we have two journalism people here, or maybe more, who can, maybe there's a better word for magazine, but that's what I call them. And you can propose to magazines that you write stories. And magazines have their own readership. And you can do a whole lot in that if you develop a connection with the editor or you come up with a topic. I'll give you an example. I don't know if this is going to work, but I am a feminist, and I'm very interested in women's lives. My book is about my father, I know, but it's going to be about my mother, the next book. So I'm interested in the phenomenon of women who write memoirs about their fathers or books about their fathers. I would love to have that category there. I would buy all of your books, too. Why are women writing about their fathers? And how do they do that? And maybe if I had time, I could do what do women write about their mothers? And how does that tell us different things? I found the men's presentations here tonight extremely moving. A lot of men don't like to share feelings, emotions, and some of what you had to say was extraordinary. And I think it would be nice to find out not only what happened, but how, what the emotional dynamic is in the relationship between yourself and the person who you wrote about, especially intergenerational ones. So I contacted Lilith magazine. I don't know if you know that one. It's a feminist magazine, Jewish feminist. And I said, would you be interested in an article about women who write about their fathers in the Holocaust? They're reviewing the idea now, but their letter to me came like in 1 minute. So I think they're kind of interested in it. And if they're not interested, I'll take it somewhere else. But I need to know which books of yours, because I want to just use your books. Which books are females writing about their parents? So if there's some way to start making clusters so we can, that will help us who are writing to do that. I also got an invitation to publish excerpts of my book in national journals, and Jewish Review of Books, for example. And that's also terrific. You don't have to just get a review, because a review always involves somebody else and they have their own source, But if you can offer, I have a few excerpts which would just take a few pages. For example, in my father's book, growing up in the town in Germany, becoming an avid Zionist, which saved his life, which is one of the reasons I want this book to be noticed now, in this whole debate about what Zionism is. Going to Buchenwald, being sent to Buchenwald, and then going to Holland and being rescued by people who are their friends, who were their friends till the day they died. So you can say, well, that's 4 or 5 things that are interesting about this, and then have just little excerpts in a journal. I want to tell you I've written a lot of books, and one of the most successful advertising that I've ever gotten for a book happened to be from Oxford University Press, which I know is on a larger scale, obviously, than Amsterdam publishers. And my book was called Feminist Methods in Social Research. And what they did is the Oxford people, identified 100 courses in the United States where such a book would be relevant, and sent them free of charge to these professors. These professors were so happy that a book just showed up free of charge with what they thought was a good title, and it's organized so that it could be taught in a course. And it was published in '92. I am still getting royalties. Where do you think I bought this jacket? It's all from this. But I'm so grateful to Oxford for having done that. I don't think you can do that, but there are ways in which you can help us with the publicity in addition to all of the technology. And the last thing I want to tell you is, like so many of you, I went back to all the places except Buchenwald where my father had been. And he was born, I said, in Germany in a small town. And that small town was called Gunzenhausen. And I went there, and this is a little embarrassing, but I live in Boston, in Brookline. I wrote to the German consul, in Boston, and I said, could you put me in touch, please, with the head of the Jewish community of Gunzenhausen? And he wrote back, there is no Jewish community in Gunzenhausen. extremely embarrassing. But whenever I go anywhere, I always say, can I find out who the head of the Jewish community is, so I can meet them, etc. So there is no head, but they said there is this woman. Her name is Emmy Hetzner, and she is a 9th grade teacher, and she is the first person to teach a course on the Holocaust in Germany. And in Gunzenhausen, and they were very proud of her. So they asked her to be my hostess when I went to the town. I went to the town, she was my hostess, and you would not believe the things that happened there. And I can tell you if you're interested, but I'm still involved with this whole group of people from Gunzenhausen, all of whom had parents who were Nazis, all of whom only started studying this recently. And I just want to tell you so much. Can I just tell you 2 little things we accomplished already? In Gunzenhausen, there is this big boulder, and then another big boulder. And on the ends of the boulders are big crosses. And then there's the names of all the people who died in World War I. And because of my father's memoir, I know the names of the people in Gunzenhausen who died in World War I who are Jewish. So my friend that I met there, Emmy, and I went to the mayor of the town and asked the mayor if they don't have to get rid of the crosses, obviously, and they don't have to say, and there were also Jews. That's not good. But next to every Jewish name, I asked them if they would chisel in to the stone a Magen David, a Jewish star. And they did it. And thank you. So we can be activist, activist book writers. The last thing I'll tell you is that we created a group, you would love this, in Gunzenhausen, of the Germans who live there in the town, right? And their descendants. And the Jewish descendants. So I'm a Jewish descendant, right? My father's name was Max Rothschild, he lived there. And my grandfather was a doctor there, and there's a doctor from now who's there. And we have a conversation with people all over the world who are connected to Gunzenhausen, and we have planned many, many activities. So I think this will help me as I try to find a translator into German. Thank you very much.